Hello everyone, my name is Shubhangini Rathod. I am from National Law University, Odisha and the Informal Discussion Group. Today I am very excited to have with us Ms. Sharon Lowen. She is a trained Odissi dancer, born and brought up in the US. She came all the way to India and to be here with us. She is also one of the founders of the NGO Manasa. We thank you, ma'am, for having us, for being with us, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you.
Ma'am, so we just firstly want to know that what actually inspired you to be the trained Odissi dancer and to have this art form and to pursue it for so many years?
Well, something that I shared with students earlier is that whatever path you take, you just keep moving forward, taking one step after another, and it leads. So when I was 13, I decided I could not be a professional dancer because I liked too many things, and that I could never be single-mindedly giving the commitment that dance required. I wanted to come to India. We had very close Indian friends. I knew a lot about India. In fact, during my BA, which in the US is 4 years, I was at University of Michigan, and I was in the Honors College, and I convinced the Board of Governors to let me create my own degree so that I could take courses in different colleges. So it was called Humanities, Fine Arts, and Asian Studies. To come to India, you need funding. The only funding was Fulbright. I did a great deal of puppetry as well. I thought I could study puppetry, but I had also had the opportunity to learn Manipuri from a wonderful teacher who was at the university doing something else. So I applied to come to India to continue Manipuri, not to become a Manipuri dancer, but to have a cultural entree to my visit, to being in India for a year, not as a tourist. I came, I was doing my Manipuri, and I extended my grant for 2 years. During that time, Kelu Babu, Guru Kelu Charan Mahapatra, had given a workshop in Delhi. And I saw it, it was wonderful. I loved everything about it, teaching, the students, the group. He was a very generous teacher. But I did not want to be a dance collector. At the end of 2 years, when I thought I was leaving India, I decided to take his workshop, and not to learn Odissi, but to know something about a more mainstream style that would be something I could use academically in explaining about Indian dance. So when I started started the workshop, took permission from my Manipuri guru. If it had any effect on my Manipuri, I would stop. And the question was asked, how did my previous training in ballet and modern dance influence what I did? Well, as you know, in Odissi, Kuchipudi, Bharatanatyam, you have to be in a turned out position. And it takes probably 2 years, along with other things that you're learning, to be able to be strong and work in that position. In the West, classical ballet and modern dance also use that turned out position. So I had from my previous training most of the strength, flexibility, and control that was needed, and I also knew how to see movement. So 2 weeks into the workshop, Kelu Babu said I learned faster than anyone he taught. He had me demonstrating for the class. Then he had me, he taught me a Mangala Charan, Batu Nritya, which is usually a 1-year course, first year, and also a Pallavi, Savri Pallavi. He was teaching one guru's daughter. And he forced me, he said, you have to make a costume. You must record the music. So basically, he was a great teacher. He was a generous teacher. He was encouraging, and he inspired me. And then I went back to America for the summer, taught a summer course at the university, taught Manipuri, performed Odissi. And when I came back to India, I attended here in Cuttack, the Kalabekash Kendra, the last year that Guruji taught there. And he had me perform with like the teacher from the institution, national scholarship holders. He said, don't tell anyone what a short time you've learned, because they won't understand. So I continued with my Manipuri. Actually, before I took the workshop in Odissi, I had started taking classes in Mayurbanj Chao with Guru Krishna Chandra Nayak, who I love. He was just like my grandfather. And again, my modern dance and ballet training gave me the ability to do it, even though it's a very obviously different technique. So I was continuing with all three, Manipuri, Odissi, and Chao. And I think the reason today that I'm most known as a Odissi dancer, first of all with Chao, I also had gone and studied in Saraikela with Guru Kedarnath Sahu. I had done big productions with Doordarshan, with Chao, but you don't do obviously a solo Chao program. So I would have to work with artists in Mayurbanj and Saraikela doing big productions for Doordarshan. Odissi, there's several things. Number one, as I say, my guru is generous and wonderful. Also, one thing that's very strange is that everyone assumes that foreigners will be good working hard at the technique of classical dance, that they are very dedicated, time is short, and physically. But they won't get the bhav, they won't get the laja, they won't get the bhakti. And for whatever reason, God's grace, Abhinaya is my forte. And so in Abhinaya, you're always unpeeling the onion. That means that you can always discover. And what I've learned is that, and what I share with my students, is that as you are learning dance, it informs your life. And as you mature in your life, that informs your dance. So half of your riyas is actually your life experience and your personal development. So of course it's wonderful, the physical movement and the perfection of technique, Anga Sud is very important. But it's the Abhinaya that helps you to grow and is the ultimate sharing, because you want your dance to be entertaining, but you want to do more. You want to offer a metaphysical experience that's going to leave your audience a little higher than where they started. And so it's been a wonderful journey. And then wherever I go, I have the opportunity to create and to go deeper into the import. And in teaching Abhinaya, it's actually very simple. First of all, you have to understand. That means you don't have a vague idea of what it means. You have to know the text, connotation, denotation. Who is the poet? When was the poet? Is it a village Nayaka, or is it a sophisticated Sanskrit Nayaka? Is it an Uttama Nayaka that you have in Git Govind? All of the contexts, and from which kind of Vaishnavism it comes from, or Shaivism, or other kind of even tantric practices. You must understand everything. Once you understand, it becomes a part of you. You feel it, and then you just have to show it. So when I first created Kumar Sambhavam, and I'm Parvati touching Shiva's feet, and then I look up at him, and because I had embodied the feeling, it was just an epiphany, because I had never felt that way. Because Radha touching Krishna's feet is absolutely different than Shakti, who is the one who empowers him, who is his equal. When she looks up at him, it's nothing like Radha. So you discover it. You discover it by internalizing it. All of you know about Hanuman, but when I danced in Sankat Mochan, the 400-year-old temple created for Hanuman in Varanasi, creating the Dhyana slokas that the people are saying every day, and I'm becoming familiar with them now. I have to give them an experience that is a new experience. So when you take a precious pearl and bite into it to see if Ram is there. That's a very different experience than reading about it intellectually. And so hopefully I get to get this feeling, and then the dancer is like a prism, like a lens to give that feeling to the audience.
Indeed, ma'am. When you mentioned about your guru, so when I was a little girl, I also got the opportunity to train in a semi-classical Indian dance form. And I remembered my teacher teaching me a lot of things, like, my initial practice when I was young. She taught me a lot of things, for example, the car, things like that. So eventually in my life, I kind of understood that dance is not just, moving hands and showing expression. Rather, it really teaches a lot about life, how things work.
Yes.
And my guru also taught me a lot of things. So is there anything that you feel that is something that really has helped you in your life and has been a great lesson by your guru, except from teaching you dance form?
It permeates so many things, because for one thing, besides the dances and the technique, you learn from your guru an attitude toward life. Today, during Republic Day, a celebration, I was noticing that the way your VC, Ved Kumari, absolutely directly, everything that happened, the way she spoke, the way everything was done, was exactly the needful. And so many formal functions, there's all kinds of extra talking and extra nakaras and all kinds of things. So I felt that not only was it a wonderful function, but she was giving you an example. So in your lives, you're going to be conducting functions, and you can see that you can leave out all of that nonsense that takes time, that fills the air and doesn't mean anything. Everything that was said, from the flag hoisting through the program, it had value. It had a point, and nothing was wasted. So that's what you learn from her as a guru. And so with my guru, I learned, first of all, of course, his approach, his hard work, his dedication, his attention to detail, the fact that he could be teaching something in any time, take some point and spend 1 hour on that, whether it was understanding it or finding the way for it to be done. Of course, he had daily puja, so one learns from that. He also, I learned from his generosity, because many gurus of the time, this is back in the 70s, gurus would be teaching people would be teaching like 1 or 2 students. And he was able, with his pedagogy, to teach like 15, 20 at a time. But another thing is that most gurus want to have control over their disciples. And he's got students coming from Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, other places. And he would say to me, okay, they'll take the cassette, wrap it up, throw it over their shoulder, go have Belpuri, and basically they're going to be not serious. They're going to be cheating. They're not going to do the dance properly. But he didn't mind, because he said, by giving generously and not worrying, he had trust in what he was teaching in the art, and that those who were sincere would rise, the cream would rise. And so sometimes when I think, my goodness, should I teach this person or not, then I think it's fine. They'll do what they do, and they may go up quickly by not being sincere, but you should always be generous so that as many as possible can benefit, and those who are sincere will do better. And but I learned so many things from him. He was very humble, but very knowledgeable in his. Well, for all of the students that thought about participating and didn't, I'll remind you of the 6-second rule, which is that if you're thinking of getting up and doing something, you've got 6 seconds before you don't do it. And everybody who gets up and takes part They're empowered by having done it. They feel stronger. They've shared something with others. And the performances were all wonderful. And the thing is, like, just like with music, I mean, everyone likes a variety. It's not like you like one kind of thing. So sometimes you like classical, sometimes you like pop. And so we had a wonderful variety. Some of the things were fun, and some of the things were profound. And that's the balance that we need in our lives. So I would say that everybody who thought of participating but didn't, you missed an opportunity for growth and for sharing and for reaching out and connecting. And so don't miss it next time.
Ma'am, that are really great words that you have given us, and I'm sure that you will all keep this in mind. Thank you for your time.
Okay. I just wanted to add about my NGO, Manasa Art Without Frontiers. This was created to connect the dots so that people can, everybody knows something about something, you can know others. So of course they're students and they perform, but we also do festivals that bring together many arts, many multimedia things, and everyone can do what they can do to move things forward, to make things better available. And so I wish you all luck, and as I said before, just keep moving forward, and you'll be amazed at what you discover along the way.
Thank you. Ma'am, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. Best wishes to all of you.
Thank you.